My thing says recording, so glad to be here. I think this is a fun little gig for the boys to kind of get on and talk a little bit of shop about some baseball, and yeah, you relax with all the Phillies talk. It's a little bit of a sore subject around the St. Louis Cardinals community, but no, man. Yes, understandable. But no, it's good to be here. Good to be here for Ismart. Obviously with Connor. Connor and I played together at USC, and now in the Cardinals org. This past season was the first time we actually got to link up and play at the same level for a little bit. So that was a lot of fun. But we can get into it. Yeah, I can touch on it a little bit, and then I'll pass it off to Connor too. Um, so I think the biggest difference is college baseball. The underlying goal is to win at all costs, and we didn't necessarily do a lot of that at our time during SC. We knew we always had the pieces to get it done. We never really kind of put it all together, but it didn't matter if like you had a bad game or whatever. If the team pulled away with the win, like everybody was going to be happy and you were going to go to sleep okay. So the biggest difference in pro ball is like you're competing against the other team, but you're also competing against your teammates. Like everybody in the organization is vying for a spot on the 40 man, and then past the 40 man, a spot on the active roster. So it's definitely a different dynamic culturally, because you have these built-in friends, but they are your closest competitors. So it's a whole new feeling for all of us, and I think Connor can speak into that as well.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm happy to be here. Happy to jump on the podcast as well. I'll be a co-host from here time to time, so it's good to be here. But yeah, I mean, really the biggest difference I'd say between college and pro ball, besides the fact that the athletes are able to execute at a higher level, and professional athletes tend to have more talent than the guys that were in college. Just kind of the cream of the crop situation. But yeah, I mean, I think really mainly it's the camaraderie is just completely different in college versus the minor league level. I mean, I haven't been up to the big leagues yet, but that probably is where it gets a little bit different, and you get more of a team atmosphere because you guys are all going again towards one goal. But really, during your time in the minor leagues, you're really having to focus on yourself. It's almost like the showcases that you went to in high school and stuff like that. But it's a little bit more glorified than that because you still have to grind with these guys for 140 games. It's still a grind. So you still bond with all these guys and it's all a good time. But there's still going to be a couple guys that you got to keep your eye out for. They're going to be trying to take your spot just as you're trying to take the next guy's spot at the next level. So
I
it's
think like the most important thing for both of us this year in terms of like that cultural side of it is Connor was in double A the whole season, and I spent half the year in high A and then the other half in double A with Connor. We were really lucky to be with awesome groups of guys. I think I think like Connor would agree with me. We had a super fun group in Springfield, which is double A, and then down in Peoria, where I started in high A, was again a really good group of dudes, and I think it goes a really long way because it's underrated. Like it doesn't get talked about very much, but pro ball can be lonely, man. Like if things
Mhm.
aren't going your way all the time, like it can be lonely. But I think you know for the most part, we both had a blast. I mean, we had our ups and downs. It's a roller coaster all around.
For sure.
Um,
I mean, you find the little things in life. When there's 140 games, it's a mental and spiritual and physical and emotional grind. You got to find the little things that make life fun because you're not in the most ideal situations in the most ideal parts of the country. You're not just hanging out at the beaches, and you're in the deserts of Texas. You're in Arkansas. You're everywhere. You're just anywhere. Um, so you
Living
kind
the
of
dream, baby. What do you mean? Come on,
yeah, yeah,
living the
great.
dream.
It's absolutely great. Yeah. Yeah.
I think there's definitely a harmony to be created between the two. there are days when it 100% feels like work, and I'm like, man, you know, I could really use the day off. But on the flip side of it, that's where mentally, like, you just have to understand that we are bearing that weight on our shoulders. Like, it's a game at the end of the day, and once you're in the big leagues, you you're united with these other guys who have also risen to the top of their game, the top of the game, like let's in the world realistically, and so there's always going to be that like work uh, aspect of stress, I would say, but at the very foundation of it, it is still baseball, and we're for the most part having a blast when we're out there. I think Connor can relate to that too.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, you got to take your job more seriously. It is a job, but at the end of the day, we're playing a kid's game. Kind of like you was saying. And if you kind of take yourself too seriously, you'll miss the opportunity that you just had. Really, you're with a bunch of boys, you're with a bunch of dudes that are 23, 24, whatever, upwards 30, whatever. And it's just a bunch of guys coming together that are really all passionate about one thing, and that's about getting to the big leagues. So yeah, I mean, it's cool. You get a just I don't know. I like to take it in, but then I also do tend to bitch a little bit. Whatever when things aren't going great, but that just happens and it's part of it. You got to just kind of manage the highs and the lows. I mean, Beller, you can go. I'm not too big on it right now.
I okay, so I really thought the the Cardinals had a good shot this year. I think there's really something to be said for what Pujols did this year, and Yachty and Wayno, and all three of those guys. They really really left it all out there in their last season. So nobody can take that away from those guys. It really is a special group, and I think they have a pretty solid core of young guys too right now. Which like even putting this postseason aside, it gives a lot of reason to be excited for the organization going into the future. I think it's reason for excitement for Connor and I because the Cardinals are always looking to pull from within, which is huge for us. And I think a lot of the young guys stepped up this year. So again, putting this postseason aside for us, like I'm excited about where the organization is. Otherwise, um, I think the Braves have a really good ball club. I think they're a force to be reckoned with, and then I think it's going to be really hard for anybody to beat the Dodgers. I saw a quote from Freddie Freeman because somebody asked Freddie, what do you think about the Padres? They came out really hot. Um, what do you think about the Padres? And Freddie responded, the Padres are hot right now, but we've been hot for the entire season. So I think like the Dodgers are
They're,
gonna have this like aura that's unmatched.
but it's actually unbelievable to think about. I mean, yeah, yeah. It's crazy to think about though. The Astros, nobody's talking about them. No one. Everyone hates them,
Yeah,
but
true.
they're the best team in the AL, and that's for sure. That's for sure. They're gonna take a shit on the Yankees. I don't know. I think the Astros have a chance of winning it all this year, and it would be. I mean, it's a hot take, and it's probably not what people want to hear, but I think the Astros have a good chance of taking it. They have a bunch of veterans. They have a bunch of guys who've been there, done that,
Yeah, they got the
and
Cy Young on their team.
and now they have a chip on their shoulder. It's guys who won a championship with an asterisk for sure.
Yeah,
They're cheaters, but they still have the experience of what it feels like to hoist a trophy. So I mean, I feel like you know we might be able to see another Astros World Series. hmm It's like they'll come out of nowhere, but if the if media just wanted to cover them, they would have been the face, just like the Dodgers would have been. But it's just like touchy subject. It's not. Oh, for sure.
yeah. It's the sexy teams. It's the big fan bases. It's the teams that are paying guys, 300-400 million dollars. Why do you think they blow up the Angels all the time, even though they can't ever win? It's because they have Otani and Trout, so it's primetime television. Yeah.
Let's go.
What was wrong with it? Oh, that's good.
It says it's recording.
Alrighty, thank you for standing by. We're back. But go on, Connor or John.
Yeah, like we said, we were just talking about the Astros.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of good baseball to go around. And there are teams that the media loves to talk about. There's teams that the media doesn't love to talk about, and the Astros unfortunately fall in that bucket right now, where they're still seeing the repercussions of a cheating scandal that realistically involved a bunch of other teams that just didn't get the hammer the same way.
I would say I'm sure there are others involved.
Yeah. So,
they really got the
totally. But it just makes me think of like freaking USC football after all those sanctions came out with Reggie Bush, and they got hit so hard with the bowl game sanctioning.
Yeah.
I mean, look, we over at USC had still been feeling the repercussions of that for our recruiting classes in football, Connor, and ever since they changed NIL is really going to give them a real opportunity to get back into it. But I'm just saying that the Astros culturally could unfortunately face like a similar, let's say, backlash that just lasts a lot longer than people might have expected initially.
Huh. You think so? You think more people kind of resent the club than
For sure.
They're
the evil franchise for sure.
Even still, like if MLB posts a video of Altuve hitting a double off the wall, like half the comments will just be like, "Cheater."
Yeah.
So
right. It's hard to, especially nowadays, like stuff like that. It sticks, and people run with that culture. And
for sure.
That's a great point, John. That's a great point. What was going on the other day with Musgrove? They thought he was cheating. They were like checking his ears. Remember that?
I didn't see that.
Last night. That was last night versus the Mets, the wild card game. He thrown. This was hilarious. He threw. It was the top of the 6th inning, and they were kicking the Mets' ass. I forget what the exact score was, like 4-0, I think. And top of the 6th, and he's giving up one hit. And so Buck Showalter comes out and wants them to do a foreign substance check. So then they bring all 7 umpires to the mound and try and do a foreign substance check. They check everywhere. They check his face, and then they even rub his ears. And then they didn't find anything. And the reason they did that is because I guess Musgrove's spin rate and his velos were up compared to like season averages. And he threw 2 curveballs. He spun them at 3,000 RPM. And so that rose a red flag for them. And then they went out, didn't find anything. And it was funny. After his foreign substance check, he threw 5 more curveballs at 3,000 RPM after the check versus before.
So he just happened to be having a career day, and Showalter is just rattled about it.
Literally, I was like, "No way!"
He
spins it almost like Johnny B.
Oh man, I don't know. That's
John,
electric.
Do we have a John spin rate stash, or do we get that?
I think I can get that going.
Let's get some videos of let's get some for the people.
I think I only sent Connor sliders.
Oh, we're all about the sliders. we're White Castle over here.
Just like Rob Friedman on Twitter at Pitching Ninja.
So Bella, let's talk about this mustache you got going on.
What's up, buddy? The mustache.
What's the deal with that?
Man.
Dude, okay.
That's
so
iconic.
I think like I touched on this before on Twitter briefly, but I do think, there's a little bit of a statistical bump that comes with the mustache. just like stuff wise, for some guys, it's going to add a little bit of velo. Maybe if you're a hitter, it's going to add a little bit of speed from your first to second time. No, I don't know. I started growing out this thing in spring training this year, just for fun. The Cardinals have always been pretty strict on facial hair, and then they opened it up this year, and so a lot of guys were doing beards and stuff, but I can't really grow a great beard. So and I've always known I can grow great upper lip hair. So in spring training, I started growing it out, and I basically let this thing go. I trimmed it, obviously, but I let it go for probably 4 months. And
right?
yeah, it was fun. I mean, basically, I was growing it out and I was shoving. I mean, I was like just dominating. I went through a little bit of a change this year, kind of how I attacked guys. This was the first year since really the beginning of my freshman year of college that I was out of the bullpen. So I used to pitch pretty much like, let's say 35, 40%, 45% off the fastball. But kind of had a realization talking to our pitching coordinator and my agent, pitching coach back home, like my slider and my ability to spin the ball is what's going to get me to the big leagues. So I really changed how I was pitching and throwing these high spin breaking balls that are moving a decent amount. And everyone in Peoria started calling it the spin rate stash. So that was kind of fun.
That's brilliant.
It was fun, man.
1-2 and awkward.
Ooh, the stash. Now let's bring that back one more time.
He deserves a little credit.
Oh, that K-strut. Oh, let's get another one going.
That's elevating the game right there.
Oh,
1-2. Swing and
sword. You call that a sword?
1-2. Swing and a base strike three. Beller gets him.
Ass out, hands out. Couldn't get to it.
There you go.
That's a beauty.
Attaboy. Attaboy. What are the metrics looking like on that guy?
Babe. Yeah.
I'm gonna.
So the best ones, I can spin it on average. If I'm having a good stuff day, I'll spin it on average like 2,700, 2,750 RPMs, and I'll get a couple up into like the 3,000 range. So it's definitely my best pitch. You could say like bread and butter, right? But yeah, man, changing up the mix and using that more often definitely opened some doors for me this year, and hopefully we'll continue to do so into the future. And the spin rate stash was a fun thing. I even had the official Cardinals player development Twitter referring to me as the spin rate stash in a tweet, so that was pretty fun. But yeah, it's good.
That's good. That's awesome. That's fun, my friend.
Yeah.
So when you're not throwing nasty sliders, it seems you're dreaming about hitting the links and playing some golf, huh?
Dude, absolutely.
Yeah, talk to us about Dance Floor. You got an awesome company. Talk to us about it.
Okay, so the brief run through is, let's say 10 or 11 months ago. It would have been around November of 21. I was in school at USC, finishing my degree, which I'm very proud of. I did graduate. And I was out on the golf course playing with my agent. And it's been a thing that basically since I signed professionally, I just got obsessed with golf. I got a set of clubs for my 21st birthday. Those since have been stolen. That's a whole nother story.
No. Wait, yeah,
but
maybe another
no,
time.
it was a while ago, so they've been replaced. But
who gave you your new pair?
The new set of clubs came from Ricky Fowler, which was actually really cool. But that's a whole nother story. So yeah, man. So was playing golf and was talking to my agent, and I was like, hey man, I wear a polo and a hat every day to the stadium during the season. Every day. It's one of the cardinal cultural, let's say, policies. You gotta wear a polo. You don't necessarily have to wear a hat, but half of us baseball players have hair that's borderline touching your collar. It's just, you need to have swag points somehow. And for a lot of guys, it's the flow, man. So what are we going to do? Waste a bunch of gel every day? No, just freaking throw a hat on the mop because we're wearing one on the field anyways. So,
fair enough.
Yeah. So I was on the course and I was talking to my agent. I was like, I wear this every day. Like, I feel like I can make something on my own that's maybe a little bit cooler and the same quality as Travis Matthew and operate at like a slightly less egregious margin than those guys operate at, and basically use my network that I've created in college and pro baseball to kind of push a product out. And he was super supportive right off the bat, and it ended up being kind of fun timing because I was literally taking courses in business school at the same time about like marketing and branding and how to kind of appeal to a consumer base. But it basically just kind of became this like passion project outside of baseball, kind of something to get my mind off the game. And, like this sounds.
Yeah. That degree thing, It's creative, it's entrepreneurial. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
We'll stand by.
He's back.
We back.
And he's back.
Barring a slight technical difficulty from my 6-year-old MacBook Air.
There you go.
Back. Okay. No, man, I was just saying, I kind of just had this realization that I have a love for golf, and it's another thing outside of baseball. And I'm obsessed with like clothes. I have too many shoes, and it's like, well, how about instead of using my money to buy shoes from someone else, like why don't I put some of my money into investing something that I can create myself? So it's been a fun little escape from baseball, and it's been fun to kind of share it with like teammates and friends. And we've been able to get it out to some big leaguers, which is a lot of fun. Yeah. I literally only have 2 hats right now just because, stuff costs money. You got to spend money to make money, and I don't have a ton of money to work with. But no, it's sick. It's a lot of fun getting it out to big leaguers, and we're trying to reach some content creators on like TikTok, and it's so weird because that's the stuff that they just don't teach you about in school yet. So like influencer marketing is almost an entirely new frontier for not only myself, but I think a lot of companies, just because the mentors that I've talked to and people that I've been able to, lean on haven't necessarily known how to do this. And I don't exactly have a big marketing budget. So like we're leaning on, like I said, like relationships and the network so far. And it's going well. It's going okay. We're having fun, and, we're selling some hats, which is fun. And then ideally, I'll be able to get some polos out there. We got the logo. The name is Dance Floor. Dance Floor is slang for the green. So yeah. So yeah, man, it's been a lot of fun.
That's really inspiring, and it is all about having fun. That's awesome, John. Yeah, definitely. Can we bring up the white one? They're really stylish.
Yeah,
they're
pull it up,
they're
Connor.
stylish. This is high fashion, baby. I would definitely wear this on the links. That's for sure.
Boom. It's kind of like that same like thing as the mustache. Like if you rock one of these things, I have it on like some pretty good authority that your score will go down.
We have the data.
That is true. I have heard that too.
Michael McGreevy, Cardinals first rounder, shot a PR in one of these hats. I'm just saying.
Proof is in the pudding.
It's great.
That's awesome. Well, this has been a great talk. I think we're going to wind it down and keep it short for today. But John,